Good afternoon. I am so happy to see you all today. My name is Leanne Hayen, and I am the founding principal of this incredible Venture Academy of Leadership and Entrepreneurship. I'm excited to dig in. Thank you. I am so excited to celebrate these kids today, so get ready for a great program. In true Vail fashion, I'm thrilled to welcome you to a brand new and very different rite of passage, because we're Vail, right? And so before we begin, I'd like to take a moment to recognize, introduce, and deeply thank the distinguished and honored guests seated on the stage today, along with many others who have supported us along the way. There's a quote by Sir Isaac Newton that says, "I've seen further if by standing on the shoulders of giants." We are here today because we have so many people who have supported us and fostered our journeys and dreams so far. So I'm so grateful to those. These individuals represent our district. They play an essential role in championing the work that we do every single day at Vail. Their service and their empowerment of students, families, and faculties alike make this district a destination place for our students and for our families. They allow our school to be the magic that we are. So seated behind me, please join me in welcoming Mr. Danny Windsor, Assistant Superintendent. Board of Education Director, Director Clark Callahan. Executive Director of Pathways and Alternative Education, Nikki Ballou. Executive Director of Choice Programming, Mr. Gordon Mosier. And DCSD General Counsel, Mary Kilmesh. I also want to take a minute to thank the people who hold a very special place in Vail's story, our assistant principals, past and present. One helped me open the school, the one who stood beside me when Vail was still a stretch, a dream, a list of ideas taped to a wall. She helped me put the first bricks in place and build the foundation that we are standing on today. We're honored that she returned to celebrate this momentous occasion. Please welcome Katie Kolash. The other stands beside me now, guiding, supporting, and co-creating the Vail that has continued to grow, evolve, and deepen. She's helped carry the vision into the present with strength, wisdom, and heart. Please welcome Laura Burke. These two women are deeply woven into the fiber of our being, and I could not have done anything that we've accomplished in this amazing journey without their support and without their love and all their guidance that they've offered. Thank you both for your courage, your partnership, and your belief in where we're going and what can be. Tommy Pelinak and his team, thank you so much for streaming today's graduation so that people who may not be able to be with us in person can also be a part of this ceremony. Next, if we have industry partners in the room, please stand up. I wasn't sure if we would have some. Okay, well, I'm going to thank them anyway. To our industry partners and mentors and workplace coaches, you are the bridge between classroom learning and the real world. You made learning real, relevant, and rooted in authentic purpose. You equipped our students with skills that cannot be replicated in a textbook. Discernment, professionalism, initiative, resilience, and the confidence to contribute meaningfully. Thank you for opening your doors, your minds, and your time to help shape their futures. To our esteemed guests who have joined us for some or all of this journey, thank you for the ways that you have poured into our students, believed in our mission, and supported the vision that Vail could become. Your presence, your encouragement, and your partnership are deeply felt and deeply appreciated. To our Vail families, wow. Your blood, sweat, tears, late nights, long conversations, and unwavering commitment have paid off. You have raised young adults of character, empathy, and grit. You are every bit as worthy of celebration today as your incredible teens move across this stage. Thank you for trusting us. Thank you for partnering with us. And thank you for letting us support and grow them over the last 3 years. Thank you. And finally, our Vail staff, please stand. These truly extraordinary humans have poured their hearts, minds, and souls into building a school unlike any other. They have stood in the gap, and they have lifted students up. They've pushed them when needed and loved them with fierce consistency and compassion. Their tireless dedication is the beating heart of Vail. Thank you for showing up every day with purpose, belief, and humanity. Thank you for shaping not just students, but futures. Students, the rest is all about you. Let's take a moment to bring our attention to our graduates sitting in front of us today and some of the accolades that they are wearing as part of the graduation regalia. Every cord and stole has a story and a history, a manifestation of the entrepreneurial mindset, such as seeing challenges as opportunities or having a bias toward action and modeling empathy and vulnerability. Whether the regalia celebrates academic achievement, leadership, or service, this is a signal that hard work, dedication, sacrifice, and learning have happened. You're not only reached the finish line, you've done so with distinction. Students wearing a gold cord signifies high academic achievement, which identifies that they have had a GPA of 3.75 and higher. If you have a gold cord, please stand. Students wearing a green cord and signifying tremendous academic growth with an increase in GPA of 1.0 or higher, please stand and be recognized. Students wearing a red, white, and blue cord signifying future service in the United States military branch, specifically the Navy for our student. Please stand up and be recognized, and thank you for your service and dedication. Students wearing a terracotta stole, I wanted to make sure I said terracotta because Katie is here, signifying industry relevance by participating in 75 or more hours of work-based learning internship experience. Please stand and be recognized. Students wearing a white stole signify innovation and entrepreneurship. These students have created their own business or nonprofit and have been contributing to their community in meaningful ways for well over a year. So these are students who have over a year of revenue streams coming in, have begun nonprofits who have impacted more than 50 people or more. If you are wearing a white stole, please stand and be recognized. You should know that this senior class has, let me just say this first, 16 students have accumulated over $847,000 in scholarships. Have earned several industry licenses and credentials, and participated in over 1,532 hours of work-based learning experiences. My Vail Hive, stand up and be recognized. All right, I'd love to welcome Laura to the stage.
Good afternoon, everyone. Before we move into our commencement address, I want to take a minute to provide some context and acknowledge something really, truly special that our first graduating class created together this past semester. Earlier this year, our commencement speaker today, Maymay Fox, and I started dreaming up an idea together. Maymay is a two-time New York Times best-selling author and founder and CEO of an author coaching program called Your Best-Selling Book. Maymay and I started with a question. What if the first graduating class of seniors could leave behind something for future Vail students? Not just a yearbook quote or a speech, but something more meaningful. Reflections on the lessons that they learned, advice, struggles, growth, and the things that they wish someone had told them before they began high school. And now I'm thrilled to announce that after a lot of collaboration and hard work, that original idea has now become a published book titled The Venture, Letters to Those Who Come Next. Over the past several months, our seniors have poured themselves into this project. They used time provided in Martin's class, as well as their own time. They wrote vulnerably, reflected honestly, and revisited moments that shaped them here at Vail, both the beautiful ones and the hard ones. And what came together in the end is something that can only be described as truly powerful. And I can tell you that once you read it, you'll understand why this book needed to exist. A huge thank you specifically to Dax Connor, Kat Kimball, and Jamal Spriggs, who took on leadership roles in helping edit, make decisions, and organize the ideas to truly bring this book together. This project would not exist in the same way without the three of them. At today's reception, every graduating senior will receive a copy of the book that they co-authored together. And starting this fall, every new incoming freshman at Vail each year will receive a copy of the book when they begin their journey with us, because this book is part of the legacy that this inaugural class is leaving behind. In addition, their book has been officially released on Amazon now and can be purchased by anyone, anywhere. There are QR codes tucked inside each book if you'd like to order additional copies for friends and family. And in true entrepreneurial fashion, this book was created now something sustainable. Since we self-published the book through Maymay's publishing company, the Story Cure Press, the profits from all book sales will come directly back to Vail to continue supporting students for years to come. So now, after working with our seniors virtually for many months, providing guidance, edit suggestions, and encouragement to them from her home base in Hawaii, it is my pleasure to welcome the person who helped spark the idea for this book in the first place. Please join me in welcoming our commencement speaker for today, Maymay Fox.
Aloha, everyone. I'm Maymay. And you graduating seniors know me as that face on the Zoom screen over the last few months as we've worked together on The Venture, which has been such a delight and an honor. I can tell you that I've been deeply touched by reading your stories of your struggles in, what is a crazy world to become a teenager in. But you survived, you coped, you adapted, and you thrived. We talked about movie moments when we were writing the book together, right? Those moments that really shape the core of who we are, both the good and the bad, the struggles and the triumphs. And so I thought I'd share a movie moment or two with you today. For 25 years, I got to do what I loved and get paid to do it. I'm really lucky. I got my first book published at age 25 by Penguin Putnam, and that sent me on a lifelong journey of being an author, helping people write their books and contributing poems to anthologies and being a contributor to Forbes for nearly a decade. It was really exciting, but it was very solitary. And at age 50, I was facing this milestone birthday, and I thought, I really need to start a company. It's time that I become an entrepreneur. Now, I was surrounded by entrepreneurs most of my adult life. I went to Stanford and I graduated at the time of the first dot-com boom. So some of my classmates went on to found Yahoo and other companies you might have heard of. And then in my early 30s, I was invited to be part of a group of young entrepreneurs, artists, and change makers called Summit Series. Now, you may have heard of this because Leanne and Laura came with me to Summit Series a month ago. And it's a really fantastic group of people. Some of them have founded Tom's Shoes and Liquid Death, Canned Water, and other incredible companies. So it's not like I didn't know that this was something out there. I just didn't have quite the courage to do it, unlike you guys who are doing it as teenagers, which blows my mind. I remember going to that first summit event. It was on a cruise ship, and as I walked up, there's this huge 100-foot tall sign hanging from the side of the ship that says, "Make no small plans." And at 50, I thought, it's my turn to make no small plans. I need to get going. The thing is, I had no idea how to start a business. I've been writing at a computer. I'm a total nerd. I didn't know how to set up a course, but I wanted to reach more than one person at once. So I wanted to create an online course. That was the vision in my head. So I went to the 2023 Summit Series event with the idea that I was going to manifest meeting a business partner. And I talked about it the whole time I was there for 3 days, and I didn't meet anyone. It was such a disappointment. The very last day, we're all having breakfast, and they're announcing over the loudspeakers, "Get off the boat, it's time to leave." And I sit down with someone who tells me, "Oh, by the way, I'm the founding CEO of one of the largest course creation companies in the country." Boom, there it was. I said, "Oh my gosh, I would love to work with you." He said, "Well, we really only work with influencers and people with hundreds of thousands of followers." I was like, "Okay, well, maybe I could just call you and pick your brain. I mean, this is how you have to be as an entrepreneur, right?" And he said, "Yeah, sure. Let me set you up with my VP, Carrie." So I talked to Carrie after getting off that boat, and Carrie said, "You know what? I think I'll work with you. Let's do it." So there you go. I had a business partner, and it was off to the races. That summer, man, I have never worked so hard in my life. I was traveling across country with my family, with young kids, and I was up at 4 a.m. every day, sending emails to everyone I know and saying, "Who wants to sign up for my book course?" And I was teaching a trial course to 2 of my friends who agreed to be my guinea pigs. And meanwhile, Carrie was setting up the course platform and the payment systems and the website. And we did it. We launched 3 months later in the fall of 2023. 20 people in the course, and it was a total success. People were thrilled. We had 2 published books that came out of it. One won the Canadian Book Award for Best Book last year. But that's the story that you read in Forbes. That's the story that you hear people share from stage. But meantime, I had so many failures. I love the expression throwing spaghetti at the wall. I don't know if you guys have ever heard this. It's like when you cook, and if you throw spaghetti at the wall, the ones that stick are cooked and the ones that fall to the ground aren't. Well, I had lots of spaghetti that didn't stick. I had a weekend boot camp where I was like, I'm going to teach everything I know in 3 days. I got 1 person to sign up. I thought I would do like a 6-month version where we went really deep into it. No one signed up. So, you succeed, you fail, but what do? You keep believing in yourself, and you keep trying, and you keep soliciting feedback from your clients and your customers and saying, what can I do better? Well, guess what else happened in the fall of 2023 when I was launching my inaugural course? I don't know if you remember the timing, but it was ChatGPT. So now suddenly there's AI, and people can use AI to write their books, and I'm thinking, who's even going to take a writing course anymore? But they did. There are people who wanted to tell their stories from their heart. People like your Vice Principal, Laura Berg, who wrote her book, In Pursuit of What's Possible, and she just published. She has an Amazon bestseller, you guys. And that's a shameless plug for you all to go buy it and leave a 5-star review, because it's all about her journey starting the Clara Brown Academy of Entrepreneurship, in a fantastic book. Well, now I call my business my 3rd child, and not only that, I call it my problem child. I have twin boys. They're 11 years old, and they're home right now with my husband and my mom. But, they're pretty great. They're pretty easy. They go to bed. I read them a book at night, and they're pretty self-sufficient. My company is not. My company is waking me up at 4 in the morning. My company is making me work on weekends and at night and causing me endless amounts of stress. So That's the reality, and yet I wouldn't have it any other way. It's the most thrilling thing I've done in my life. It's been so rewarding. It has pushed me to new heights, and I'm just so blown away that you guys are already doing this. This, I believe, is the most important skill you've developed here at Vail, the willingness to take courageous, audacious leaps of faith. This skill will carry you through, not just as entrepreneurs should you go that path, not just through your careers, but through life itself. Maybe you haven't focused as much on learning calculus or reading the classics, but knowledge is right there at our fingertips, especially with AI and cell phones. The Vail advantage is your ability to move beyond your knowledge and turn it into wisdom. Wisdom is knowing yourself, understanding other people, being able to connect with them, and being able to translate your lessons to others, which is exactly what you've done with your book, The Venture. I'd like to just share with all of you a reflection of what I've gotten to see working with these extraordinary young people on their book. Amara, you share your story of smudging a projector screen on your first day in front of the entire class. What a mortifying moment. And yet you write, embarrassment is just the fear of being seen. We try so hard to hide the blunders that we forget that the blunders allow others to know that we are also human. Beautifully said. Roman, you open up about how caving to peer pressure led you to vaping, and you give really hard advice to the future incoming freshmen of Vail that they're going to listen to a lot more than hearing it from their parents or teachers. Don't even take the first puff. Dax, you write about the power of a single act of kindness. I was so touched when you said a small act each day can single-handedly save someone's life. Jamal, you confessed that you were a terrible student before you found Vail. Here you connected, and I love these words. I entered a space where my voice could be heard no matter how quiet. How moving. Anthony, you described Vail as a light in the dark, saying your classmates instantly got you and knew your struggle, and they didn't judge you for it. Ethan, you talk about how Vail inspired you to go from failing every class to passing everyone. Do you hear that? What a transformation. Riley, you make a strong case for the long-term value of prioritizing school, and that is going to carry a great deal of weight for future incoming freshmen. Nishan, you describe how for years you communicated with teachers and classmates in a combative way, and you say that Vail helped you learn a different approach. You know, that kind of self-awareness is rare even among 50-year-olds like me. Ella, you describe how you were bullied in middle school, causing you to give up and rebel, but at Vail, you say, deep down, I wanted to be different. As the year went on and I got past more bumps in the road, I caught a glimpse of the person I could become. So moving. Jake, you talk about how Vail prepared you for your upcoming mission by helping you become more adaptable. Brody, you describe how you went all the way from being terrified of public speaking to winning the pitch contest. I mean, how incredible. Liam, your philosophical essay on overcoming self-doubt is so true. You say that we create our own reality. William, you demonstrate tremendous courage in sharing your experience of childhood abuse and years of mental health struggles. And yet you found your way ultimately by making good friends. And Kat, your collection of poetry was so vulnerable and courageous. Thank you for sharing that, talking about belonging and losing a friend to addiction. When I read all of your essays together, what I witness is a group of young people who have already done the hard thing. You've looked honestly at your own lives, found meaning in difficult moments, and chosen to transform that meaning into something useful for someone else. That's the entire job description of a leader in today's world. So here's what I'll leave you with today, you small and extraordinary inaugural graduating senior class of Vail. because this is, after all, a commencement address, and I think I'm supposed to give some advice, but I feel like you know it all already. Number one, don't fear failure. You, me, everyone else in this room, we've already fallen flat, gotten bruised, and picked ourselves up again. That's what led us to find new pathways, take immense risks, start over, and try again. Number two, do not shrink to fit yourself into spaces that were designed for someone less interesting than you. You guys are so cool and interesting. There's a lot of pressure out there, but stay true to you, please. And number three, stick with a community of people who know how to bet on themselves and bet on you. These are the people you found at Vail, and we know from the research that those who move forward in isolation are far less likely to finish and flourish than those who surround themselves with others who share their vision and values. And when those inevitable hard moments come, because they will, remember, the hard moments are setting you up for a future in which you continue to own and expand on your power as a creator, because that's what you all are. You are creators, and that is your superpower. Last year, long before I knew I'd be giving this speech, I created a short book for graduates just like you called Take the First Step. In it, I wrote, "You do not need a map to embark on your journey, and even if you think you have one, the wind will tear it apart." Well, Vail graduates, you've already embraced this sentiment. You understand that the wind tearing apart your map is not a disaster. It's the beginning of a new journey. I know your teachers, parents, friends, and fellow classmates feel immensely proud of you today, as do I. I hope you feel proud of you too. I cannot wait to watch you take the next first step. Thank you.
And now, the most important part, we'd like to start addressing our beautiful souls who have been with us on this incredible journey. I'd like to welcome officially the stars of today's show, our graduates. Each senior has prepared a 2-minute speech for you as their final pitch. I encourage you to think back to about 3 years ago when they were giving their first pitches during Immersion Week. There was a lot of emotion, and I imagine that the emotion you see today will look very different, and the butterflies are butterflies of excitement because they know that they will do great things. Please welcome first to the stage Roman Perez.
Knew this I knew since I was a chick. Clean my room and pray for this. Eat my dinner, then go back to whatever finna make me rich. Whole lot of feeling that you can't dismiss. I was somewhere stuck in a...
Oh, let me get this set up. Well, good afternoon, everyone. Hope your afternoon's going well. Oh my... That's okay. Oh, perfect. Okay. Well, I'm gonna explain a little story of my journey from freshman year. Okay. I'm gonna explain a little journey from my freshman year to now. Lack of motivation, not belonging, and the wrong group of friends. That's how I explain my freshman year. Well, that's all pretty negative. That year was pretty bad for me. It made me feel like I was gonna go nowhere in my life, even though it was just my freshman year. Then I switched to Vail next year, and immediately I noticed a change in my behavior, motivation, self-direction, and just my overall well-being. I would say the change really started to take effect in about October or November of that year, when I still had my advisement class. Well, there were definitely times that I never did work in that class, but I definitely built connections with some of my closest friends today. And that's what built my motivation. and that's what built my sense of self-belonging. To be able to get up in front of y'all today and speak. While my years at Vail have built a version of me that freshman year me would never expect. The ups and downs that I've experienced in the past 3 years, freshman year me would never believe. See, I don't want this whole thing to be about me. I want this to be about the class of 2026. I know when we all showed up, our first day, sophomore, some of y'all's freshman year, we were all standing outside the school, and we were all nervous. Some of us knew each other, some of us didn't. And we formed our groups after that first immersion week, and have stayed in them for the most part. But we haven't just found our friends, we have found the reason we belong. And we've also found the friends that maybe push us to do some questionable things. But I know behind all these caps and gowns, there's not just a group of kids graduating high school. There are stories that a transcript or a diploma could never tell. Congratulations to the class of 2026, and thank you for an unforgettable 3 years of my life.
Please welcome to the stage, Ella Terrell.
Good morning. Sorry, I'm probably going to cry throughout this. I have something to admit. I didn't believe I was going to make it far enough to speak before you all today. If you had asked me what my 5-year plan was 4 years ago, I would have told you I couldn't see myself 5 years in the future. Thank you. When I first came to Vail, my mental health was suffering immensely. I was a complete stranger to myself. And most of all, I was a coward. No shade to the girl I was before, but it's true. There was nothing she desired more than to be invisible and was against anything that took the courage to be perceived. I let my what-ifs hold me back, but it soon became apparent that I couldn't hide any longer. That year, I caught a glimpse of possibility. For the first time in my academic career, I saw myself succeed. And what I learned through that sliver of success is that even the most minuscule accomplishments can accumulate and become a display of hard work if you just believe in yourself and follow through. With each accomplishment, my once blind faith became less blind. I finally saw the version of me that could, and I realized that you are only as capable as you believe you are. So with that knowledge, I began to try. I tried at just about any opportunity I was given, whether I thought I could do it or not, because I realized that either way, it was an opportunity to learn and grow. And in doing so, I've discovered so much about my passions and my dreams for the future. With the courage I've built to live, I've found myself, and not only that, I've found things that I want to live for. So if there's anything you can take away from what I'm sharing with you today, my hope is for you to understand that your potential is limitless, and you are so much more than the thoughts in your head. Thank you.
Please welcome to the stage, Riley McCoy.
Hello, everyone. I have a quote for you from 1800 BC, from the tale of the eloquent peasant that reads, "Do for one who may do for you, that you may cause him thus to do," which would nowadays convert to "do unto others as you wish done unto yourself," the golden rule. Now, many take this as a sign to simply be kind, be nice to one another, but I believe this encapsulates much, much more than a simple sign to be kind. Anger, for instance, a powerful emotion with the ability to make us do rash decisions and dangerous outbursts that could hurt somebody. But because we understand the golden rule, it isn't unaccounted for. We ourselves have been angry with somebody, and thus we can expect others to be angry with ourselves. Now, this doesn't prevent the consequences of somebody being angry with you, but it does make it more manageable, and you can empathize with people as you have been angry yourself. But it's not just emotions. It's your job, it's your friends, the food. Every part of your day can apply. I much rather hold the door for somebody in hopes that someone one day will hold the door for me when I'm carrying too much in my hands. I will let somebody go at a stop sign in hopes that no one will cut me off on my way home from school or work. Now, we know this isn't guaranteed to work. We know people aren't guaranteed to reciprocate exactly as we give, but hoping and giving just a little every day makes the world a small bit better, and that small bit will eventually return to you. And we know this world isn't kind. Many of us have faced very hard things, but the outlook that this provides can change your life every single day. And so I leave you with another quote. This world insists upon itself. Thus, to bribe the future into positive directions, you must invest and give, lest you do harm onto yourself. Thank you.
Please welcome to the stage, Quinn Wagner.
In 1974, a man named Robert Nozick, in his book Anarchy, State, and Utopia, wrote about a hypothetical where there's a machine that can simulate any positive emotion that one would hope to feel in their life, any gratification or accomplishment. And then he asked people if they would prefer to be in that machine than to live their life. And many people said they wouldn't, the conclusion being that there was something greater than pure positive emotion that people value. And I'm not here to sway anyone's opinion either way on this, and I don't have a set opinion either way on this, but one argument that I think is important when looking at this hypothetical is if the people who said no would have said that if they were in the machine, if they were already feeling the positive emotion, would they want to leave it? Or if someone who lived their life had a higher value life than the person in the machine. Ultimately, the point of my talk is that I want to bring into question the fundamental parts that make up people's values. I think often we can fall into logical fallacies because we focus on the whole and we don't focus on the parts that make it up. And so I want to ask the people of the audience, what's their baseline? What do they use to quantify value, or right and wrong, or good and bad? What variables and factors do you use to make your everyday decisions? Thank you.
Please welcome to the stage, Riley Eddington.
Beauty school dropout, no graduation day for you.
So I'm very thankful for Vail. I've always been behind in school, and as soon as I started at Vail, I became ahead and I got to graduate early and start cosmetology in December, and Vail has also helped me meet some of my best friends who have helped me through the hardest times of my life, and I'm just very thankful for Vail. Thank you.
Please welcome to the stage, Brody Fields.
I must have died and gone to heaven, 'cause it was 11 on a Saturday in 1999. Right across
Yeah, I might have to raise it a little bit. Yeah, for me? Yeah. That makes sense. That's okay. No, you got it. Thank you. You're wonderful. All right. I'm going to be completely honest with you all when I say this, but I'm not exactly what you look at when you say a role model student. I never really exceeded much in academics, starting at about, I don't know, right as school started. And I'm sitting, but yet still, I'm here graduating in front of you today. Though I may have not been the best performing student, I always tried to stay exactly true to who I was. I never let what anybody else said sway me in what I wanted to do. I remember teachers almost trying to sway me out of my idea of being a musician, saying things like, let's try for something maybe a little more realistic, and also being told by classmates that or a classmate that I'd be a bum for wanting to be a musician. Yet, I stand here in front of you graduating today, ready to embark on my journey to the Music City come August to continue to pursue this dream. I recommend for all of you watching in the audience that are younger classmen to do the exact same. This is your life. You get to choose how you steer your boat. Don't let anybody else tell you something you can't do. You want to go play in the NBA, you want to do it, push for it. You want to start a business, start it. Do not let someone else take you away from that. Just remember to stay true to who you are and do not compromise your values. If you practice authenticity, and I mean really practice authenticity, the right people will come into your life. I promise you. Now, I wish I wasn't given just 2 minutes to speak with you all, because there's so much I want to say. For some, it's an I'm sorry. For some, it's a thank you. But since I don't have much time, I want to leave you with a quote. I don't know how much time I'll have left I don't know if I'll have many more time to write any more letters, because I might be too busy trying to participate. So if this does end up being the last letter, I want you to know that I was in a bad place before I started high school, and you helped me. Even if you don't know what I was talking about, or didn't know someone who's gone through it, you made me feel not alone. Because I know there are people who say this doesn't happen, and I know there are people who forget what it's like to be 16 when they turn 17. And I know these will all be stories one day. We'll all become somebody's mom or dad. But right now, these moments are not stories. They're happening. But right now, and I can see it. There's one moment when you know that you're not a sad story. And you stand up on the ride with your friends, listening to your favorite song, and thinking about everything that makes you wonder in this world. And in this moment, I swear, we are infinite. Thank you.
Please welcome to the stage, Liam Chismerich.
No, it's okay. I'm going to ask a question at the beginning of the speech. It's for rhetorical effect. Don't answer it. What is a human? When the ancient peoples of our world would memorialize themselves, their ideas and their stories in the night sky as constellations, they had an answer. Their answer was this: each and every one of us here will amount to nothing more than that empty space in which other people can store their constellations, and in which new experiences can indelibly etch stars into being. Though intimidating at first, this is actually life's greatest gift to us. And ironically, it was only due to a friend that I learned to cherish this gift, Jamal. So me and Jamal, we like to stargaze. And one night we're looking at the stars and he says to me, Liam, I look at the stars and I speak to you. And you speak back. And in that moment I had a revelation. Everything, everyone on this planet Earth is a reflection, transformed, of all the information this universe contains. But I also felt incredibly guilty because I had taken him for granted. He had offered me more wisdom and information than I could ever hope to consume. And all I had to do was ask. Not even him, just myself, yet I hadn't. It's immensely tempting to focus your perception solely on yourself. It is terrifying to allow the world to change you. But I implore you, do not take life's greatest gift for granted. Endeavor to allow others insight in. Receive their constellations inside yourself and fill your void with light and life. And reflect upon your night sky, knowing that each and every one of those constellations contains a universe of its own. And know the value of asking everything and everyone, what can I learn from you? And you will learn more than any curriculum could ever hope to teach you. Thank you to each and every one of you for being part of my night sky.
Please welcome to the stage, Anthony Lambert.
Just waking up in the morning, gotta thank God. I don't know, but today seems kinda odd.
Loki, yeah.
Loki.
Perfect. Hello, Valians. 4 years ago, I was coming into high school not knowing what I was going to expect. But I did know I was going to expect some challenges, achievements, friendships, and someone to who I am today. But as I stand here today, I only noticed one thing that really changed me, and that was my confidence. Freshman and sophomore year, I was a very unconfident person. And sometimes I would feel useless or unwanted. But by junior year, oh shoot, hold on, lost my track. But by junior year, I have came to Vail, and I wanted to take a different route. And my years at Vail, I've made really good friendships. I made friendships to make me come out of my comfort zone. And I made friendships that helped me to not care of what others think of me. And I also made friendships to not worry about embarrassing yourself. And if you had to tell my freshman year self that I'm doing a speech in front of the whole school, I would probably have a panic attack. But I'm not that same person who I was 4 years ago. And so, my fellow seniors, as we move on to our next chapter, I want you guys to keep conquering your dreams and to never doubt yourself, because I believe in you how you guys believe in me. Thank you.
Please welcome to the stage, Ethan Hannacum.
Shut up, popular MMOs. Okay. In my high school career, I did a lot that I was not very proud of. I also didn't do a lot that I would have been very proud of. And that taught me a lot of things. Not at the time, that taught me nothing. But I moved to this school called Vail. It made some massive differences in my life. It gave me a new motivation. It changed my 0.7 and 0.8 GPA my 2 semesters, which is, if you don't know GPAs, that's really bad. It changed it to, now I have above a 3.5 GPA. Woohoo! Yay! Woo! The thing that kind of changed all of that was I saw my report card the first semester I came out of, I went to Vista before, just name dropping. And I didn't fail a single class, which I was the kid who failed all of his classes, by the way, that May Fox was talking about. And that one big win completely changed my confidence, and it completely changed the whole outlook I had on school. So yeah, thank you very much.
Please welcome to the stage, Jake Ponder.
I got some big plans. Build a little house out on some hand-me-down land. Find a little island where we go to get tan. I bet we take our kids down there.
What up, Vale? All right. So that song that just played, a little backstory to it. That's actually one of my least favorite songs ever, because that was the song that was playing when I got my first car accident. And little did I know that would be the first of many. I've been in a couple. Luckily, none of them have been my fault. I would just like to think that I have really bad luck. But after almost dying a couple of times, you start to realize something. Life can change in a moment when you least expect it. Something scary and painful can happen out of nowhere. But there's another side to it. I think this quote describes it perfectly. It says, if God can remove something you never thought you'd lose, imagine what he can give you that you never dreamed of having. My life wasn't taken in those accidents, but things were. Time during recovery was taken. Strength in my back was weakened, and trust in other drivers was pretty much gone at this point. It's easy to focus only on what was lost, but every trial has a blessing hidden inside it. Through those experiences, I've realized that every hard thing we go through has a brighter side on the other side of it, and we just have to keep on going long enough to see it. Thank you.
Please welcome to the stage, Nashon Golf.
We don't care who sees, so what, we go out. Let me get a lighter. That's how it's supposed to be. Living young and wild and free.
Shout out Snoop Dogg. Shout out Wiz Khalifa. Shout out Winston Churchill. Shout out Two-Turn Terry. I'm here before you today because I was forced to be. I didn't want to write a speech. I don't like writing. But I did it. I went to SHAP my freshman year, and I didn't like it. I had no motivation, no help. But Vail changed that. I was in the hallway looking up answers on my phone during a history final when Leanne approached me. And I don't remember exactly how it went, but after a couple interviews and a few other things, I ended up at Vail. And whether it be building Rube Goldberg machines, sophomore year science, to watching Interstellar for my final senior year, I want to say thank you to all the Vail faculty for helping push me to be better and do things that you knew I could. I want to say thank you to Terry and Leanne for always believing in me, for trying to understand me, and for never giving up. I want to say thank you for bringing me to Vail and getting me out of SHAP. As Winston Churchill said, success is not final, failure is not fatal, it is the courage to continue that counts. Terry, can I go home now?
Please welcome to the stage, Jamal Spriggs.
I gotta testify. Come up in the spot looking extra fly. For the day I die, I'ma touch the sky. Gotta testify. Come up in the spot looking extra.
What's up? I'm gonna tell you guys a little story. Earlier this year, I was given an assignment to make a presentation on what I thought it meant to be a cool person in this world. Now, the first thing I think of when I think of cool people are, of course, me. But then I also think of famous celebrities that are talented or funny. But then I took a second, and I looked around my senior class, and I thought, well, if I were to label each and every single one of them, I could definitely categorize them as cool. And as you've seen some of their speeches, and you'll see the rest of them today, you'll see why. And this changed my whole perspective on the presentation that I wanted to give that day. And I ended up starting with some famous people like Robert Downey Jr. or Elmo. But then I went around the room and I listed each person and as to why I thought they were cool. Now I'm telling you this today because I want to give a very similar message, but I'm going to edit the format just a little bit. Instead of talking about what it means to be a cool person in this world, I just want to think about what it means to be a significant person in this world. Now, when I think of significant people, I think Martin Luther King Jr., I think Jesus Christ, I think Robert Downey Jr. again, and I think a lot about Lin-Manuel Miranda. And of course, I think about myself again. And each of these people are very significant and well known in our country, and they do a whole lot of different things, whether that's art or music or social reform. But the one thing that each of these people have in common, including myself, is the one thing that embodies their whole person, the one thing that they're completely dedicated to, is the gift of giving. And as I look into the crowd today and I see faces that make up a community that powers Vail, and I know without a shadow of a doubt that the source of that power is how much that this community gives, and I see it every single day. And that's interesting to me because from the first breath that we take, we do exactly that. It's primal and instinctual for us to take. But as we grow, something beautiful begins to happen. We notice something missing in our community, and as we grow, we choose to give in order to fulfill whatever that hole or void might be. And that's incredibly powerful to me because in a world where it's so primal and easy to take, I've seen us all give and give and give. And as us senior class, and of course all of you, move into whatever next step of life you might move into, you're gonna have a lot of opportunities given to you, and you're gonna walk into a lot of rooms. And the first thought that you might think is, what can I take from this opportunity, from this room? But the next time you walk into a room, or the next time you're given that opportunity, I want you to take a second and think, what can I give instead? Thank you very much.
Please welcome to the stage, Will Everett.
2 minutes is not enough time to properly express all I want to say. There are so many thanks I'd like to give in so much more detail, but for the sake of time, here are the top 3. I want to thank Leanne and Katie, as well as all of the other staff who's ever worked at Vail, for creating the school that saved my life. I want to thank my family for always supporting me. Damn. And I want to thank all of you who showed up for Blow on the Clock Tower. I've changed a lot since going to Vail. I used to struggle with the idea of me living long enough to see high school. Now I kind of wish there was a way that I could stick around a little longer to see how everything continues to grow. I need everyone in this room to realize how lucky we are to have Vail in our lives. Because Vail gives us the greatest blessing a school can give, being seen. Vail gave me the opportunity to speak in front of all of you with the sole purpose of sharing my perspective and ideas. And that is something I will be eternally grateful for. So how am I going to use this opportunity? I'm asking you all to continue to be seen. For you louder kids, continue to listen for the wisdom you can only find in others. And for the quieter kids, continue to take those wild opportunities that help you continue to flourish. Because either way, by going to Vail, you've already started. So don't stop. Thank you.
Please welcome to the stage, Dax Connor.
You feel like home on Christmas Day at 9 a.m. in second grade.
Okay, I just real quick want to shout out my family right here. I literally would not be here without them. I love you guys so much. All right, let's do this. My journey started in 5th grade when I was handed my first piece of difficult math homework. And although I could do the math just fine, I stared at those 20 questions and said to myself, no. And I stopped at question 4. In 6th grade, I learned how flawed the education system was and the better alternatives like Finland and Singapore. In 8th grade, I decided I was going to drop out at 16. I was never bad at school, but I was at war with it. And I searched for something better. That's when I met Katie and Leanne. I had never met someone who had seen my struggles as strengths rather than flaws. They even showed me that I had leadership skills that I didn't even know I had. And it was in that moment that I decided I was going to Vail. My sophomore year, I made deep connections with those around me, and I created a skincare company that sold out in our first farmer's market. The curiosity that had burned away was reignited by Carrie Corley, and I learned that I not only loved math, but I actually saw the beauty in the logic that builds our reality. I built my brands, I co-founded a tech company, and I found my talents for public speaking and conquered my fears. If my story means anything to anyone, it's that no matter where you are in life, you have unlimited potential. Everyone in this room, in this country, and on this planet. Everybody has something that makes them great. So, when you leave here today, remember that those sitting right next to you have something great too. Chase your dreams is because I chased my dreams that I ended up on the top floor of the Pola Nelsie building, shaking the hands of billionaires and entrepreneurs. Never stop chasing your dreams.
Please welcome to the stage, Graham Carter.
We make the ground our grave by laying in it. We make our problems fade by facing them. We make the wind our wings by raising your arms.
Good afternoon, everyone. Today, I want to talk about something that most people don't understand until much later in life, who you're becoming. Now, I'm not talking about who you are now or who you want to be. I'm talking about who you're becoming right now based off the choices that you're making every single day. Over the past 4 years of my life, I've started to understand that your identity isn't something that is fixed. It isn't something that's determined by your talents or your circumstances. It's determined by what you do when the easy thing and the right thing are different. Sophomore year, I was sitting in the Commons and Katie hands me a book. Something about the way she had handed it to me just made me feel like she knew something that I didn't. I look at it, Shoe Dog by Phil Knight, the creator of Nike. And I don't know if she realizes this or not, but that book changed my life. That book taught me that every single door, open or closed, is an opportunity if you see it that way. Most people think that identity is something that you're born with. Either you're creative or you're not. Either you're disciplined or you're not. But no, that's not how this works. You see, your identity is something that you're writing every single day. I started to realize this when I was creating my own company. I failed constantly, and every failure just felt like proof that I wasn't capable. And then it clicked. I started to understand that these failures weren't telling me that I couldn't. These failures were just telling me that I didn't know how yet. And that's the difference that matters. You see, every time that you keep pushing instead of quitting, you become a different person. You become someone who doesn't give up. You become someone who treats problems as information and not endings. And here's why this matters. Life is going to test you. Life is going to hand you moments where it just makes sense to quit. And in moments like those, you're not going to think back to today. You're going to fall back on the person that you decided to become. So to my class of 2026, I say start now. I say do it. I say do it while it's messy. Do it when it's unplanned. Just start now. Love you all. Thank you.
Please welcome to the stage, Kat Kimball.
Today is where your book begins. Feel the rain on your skin. No one else can feel it for you. Only you can let it.
Seniors or students and staff, I want you to help me out in saying a little phrase we like to say at Vail. I'll say the first part and you can say the rest. Welcome to the first day. Welcome to the first day of the rest of your life is something we all heard on our first day at Vail from a lady with a wonderful British accent. As we looked at the sign, the yellow sign in the Commons, that phrase hit hard. Everything felt new. Our lives felt unwritten. Then Katie maybe said it a few more times, and familiarity set in, and it lost its meaning. But now, for us seniors, I bet it feels real again. On the first day of the rest of your life, seniors, I wish I could tell you what to do. I wish I had advice for you to take with you for the rest of your life, but I don't, because this is also the first day of the rest of my life. Instead, I want to remind you what you've already done over the past 1,018 days. I wasn't here for the first 365 days, but I've heard stories. I heard that you gave up your old lives to try something new. You survived the most exhausting yet immersive first week of school and ended it with a pitch in front of the entire school. You met teachers who made you feel like they actually cared. You advocated for a new grading system relentlessly, and you forgot many assignments. In the past 653 days, you did another immersion week and pitch. You welcomed new people like me. You protested a class in what we can all agree is not our best execution. You had some heated moments on the basketball court. And you lost some people along the way. They're not dead, just not here. You started, in the final 288, you started senior year with yet another immersion week and pitched alone this time. You adapted to a spreadsheet level system where you got assigned levels by putting numbers in a spreadsheet, even though it maybe felt a little dystopian. You turned in more assignments on time. You started imagining your futures and working towards them, even if they're a little blurry. And now you've made it through all 4 years of high school. You became people our freshman selves would not have even recognized. You were leaving a school where we were treated like worthy people instead of numbers. And you are walking away with the most important thing a high school could give you: love. Love for each other, love for the school, and love for ourselves, maybe for the first time. You may not have it all figured out on the first day of the rest of your life. You definitely don't. Sorry. But know this, you've done it before, so you can be, you will be, you are defiant. You are leaders. You are friends with me, which is arguably your peak achievement. You are resilient. You are bold. You are persistent. You are capable of starting over. You are people who care even when you act like you don't. You are chaotic. You are people who show up even if it's a little messy, late, or slightly unprepared. And most importantly, you are still becoming. On the first day of the rest of your life, the one thing I want you to remember is that these past 1,018 days, maybe, you've been a big part of the best thing that has ever happened to me. You made me feel successful. You reminded me that I am capable of more than I thought, more than I believed, and more than I ever gave myself credit for. I want to thank you for that. And if you take one thing with you for the rest of your lives, I want you to remember that as you continue down the path of life, remember that you have the power to become part of the best thing that's ever happened to someone again. I love you all, and congratulations.
I'm not crying, you are. I'm going to read a little bit of this because I know that where I'm at right now, my words will fail me, and every single one of these words was chosen very carefully. So this is to you, my loves. Good afternoon, families, friends, staff, community partners, and most importantly, our graduates. Today is so much more than a ceremony. For some, it is summiting one's own Everest. For others, it's an awakening. One thing that is certain is that this moment where we pause long enough to say, we can all agree, something extraordinary has happened here. These seniors walked into Vail when Vail was little more than a vision board, a mission statement, and a group of wide-eyed and optimistic teachers ready to change the face of education with a lot of big promises that we hoped we could keep. They came when the paint was still drying, the schedules were still being written, and our ideas were optimistic, idealistic, and radically untested. When they signed up, these seniors thought that they were just joining a school. Instead, they built one. They were the first of something, the beginning of a story with an unknown ending. Today, yet again, they are the first of something. The first graduating class in Vail's history, the first to cross the Vail stage, the one we talked about in pre-enrollment dialogues 3 years ago. Do you remember this, parents? I asked each and every one of you, what do you want to see when your kid walks across that stage in 3 years? I hope that you saw exactly what you hoped to see. They built the first bricks on the bedrock of a school like no other, and one that we will continue to build. Year one was about radical trust and culture as we opened our doors to 67 students. They were our risk takers, and they were our trailblazers. And honestly, the radical part from the fact was that none of us fully knew what we were doing because we were doing something so radically different. These students trusted us without proof, and we trusted them without precedent. And Brené Brown reminds us that trust is not built in sweeping dramatic moments. It's built in small, everyday choices, and with a sprinkle of hot chocolate powder, still one of Vail's greatest selling points. We learned, we made mistakes, we unlearned, and we learned again. We mastered the pivot. We built a culture that was safe, beautiful, loving, courageous, and it set a precedent like no other. The Hive was born. In year two, we embraced courage over comfort, inspired by Adam Grant's relentless invitation to rethink the status quo. Boy, did the students rethink it. They gave us honest feedback, sometimes really honest. They questioned systems, they practiced failing forward, they advocated for themselves, and they challenged us every day to be better. The year was not comfortable for any of us. New and important work never is. But it was courage that we carried into year three. By year three, our tiny little school all of a sudden felt really large. With 120 students and 30 staff, we reminisced on the size and the intimacy that we previously knew while forging forward in what I believe is the make or break year of a startup. James Clear said, "You do not rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems." And we knew that this would be the hardest lift of all. It felt appropriate then that Danielle Pink's drive, autonomy, mastery, and purpose become the highway for our learning and building. Autonomy? Oh, these guys have been driving since day one. Sometimes with both hands on the wheel, and sometimes with one hand out the window, music blasting and ignoring 3 reminders from their adults. But still driving. Mastery? Listen, mastery for this group did not always look like quiet diligence and color-coded notes. Sometimes it looked like arguing passionately, revising reluctantly, and growing accidentally. But they did grow, even when the path wasn't clear, even when they didn't like the assignment, and even when we had to say, no, really, try again, they did it. Purpose? They found theirs in their own creative ways. Through internships where they discovered what they love, and a few discovered what they never want to do again. Through passion projects that surprised us, confused us, and occasionally terrified us. Through problem-based learning where they realized that learning isn't something that adults do to them, it's something that they get to own, to shape, and to sometimes challenge loudly. Our mission is to empower lifelong learners who stay curious, who think infinitely, who navigate nuance, and hold tight to empathy and growth. Our vision is to develop practitioners, problem solvers, leaders, entrepreneurial humans who meaningfully contribute to the world. I've fondly called these friends the Breakfast Club since day one. These students who on paper would never have ended up together, would never have connected, who would never have found friendships. Night and day different personalities, interests that don't overlap on any Venn diagram. However, this collection of humans who, at any high school, might have passed each other in the hallway without a second glance, found one another and are forever bonded. Here, because of their tiny but mighty size, they become this unlikely, hilarious, occasionally chaotic family. Some days their size made them absolutely loathe each other, and trust me, they were not subtle about it. Other days, like the senior bonfire, I watched them soften, open up, and form bonds that I didn't think any of us saw coming. Bonds that I've rarely seen in a school setting, and ones that I know will outlast this place. In this group, we have discerning decision makers, we have capable leaders, we have empathetic innovators, we have entrepreneurs. A group of students that gave me the greatest optimism for this world and evidence that Vail's vision is not aspirational, it's real. My beloved seniors, you were the first of something, and today you are the first of something yet again. Your stories, your experiments, your wins and your failures, your ideas and your courage, your trust, and so much more became the bedrock that we built on. Thank you for being willing to be the first prototype, for being willing to trust us, to jump into a new adventure. Because of you, our future students will walk into a school that is stronger, clearer, and more beautiful than any one of us could have built on our own. Now, is your job done? Not a chance, not even close. Once a part of the hive, always a part of the hive. And, as you've heard me say countless times, with great power comes great responsibility. Continue to demonstrate that hive pride as you join new hives of your own. Stay curious. Stay bold. Use your powers for good. Stay willing to think and rethink. Don't forget the importance of nuance and empathy. Build, create, design a better future. Stay in that driver's seat of your life. You were the first to drive here, now you get to drive anywhere. You are. You always have been the drivers, you always will be. We love you, we believe in you, you've got this. Don't forget, the hive is always here waiting for you to return. Congratulations, class of 2026. All right, let's do some diplomas. At this time, I'd like to invite our seniors' chosen representatives to the podium to announce each graduate. Please welcome David DeBonis, Lo Kinney, and Terry Mathis.
Graham Carter. Liam Chismarich. Dax Connor. Riley Eddington. William Everett. Brody Fields.
Nishan Goff. Ethan Hanicum. Kat Kimball. Anthony Lambert. Riley McCoy.
Roman Perez. Jacob Ponder. Jamal Spriggs. Ella Terrell. Quinn Wagner. All right, Mr. Windsor, are you ready for this? Let's do this. All right, Mr. Windsor, I hereby attest and confirm that these incredible students have successfully completed the minimum requirements set forth by the Board of Education for the Douglas County School District and are deserving of that recognition by the presentation of their high school diplomas.
There we go. All right, Leanne and staff, congratulations. On behalf of Douglas County School District and the Board of Education, it is my extreme honor to accept the inaugural graduating class from Vail 2026. Congratulations.
For everything, for everything. I think you're ready for this. Are you ready for this? Seniors, please rise. By the authority vested in me by the Douglas County School District, and as the founding principal of Venture Academy of Leadership and Entrepreneurship, I officially recognize you as graduates of Vail. You may now turn your tassels. Miss Shawn, you can almost go home. We're close. All right, my Hive, are you ready to celebrate them out? Okay, let's do this, Hive. Let's make the best dang gauntlet we ever saw. Line up outside that door. I'll send them out here shortly. All right, my beautiful, amazing seniors, head out that door and get